Hello everyone, I'll be talking about the TAIL Indoor Environmental Quality Rating Scheme today. Uh, I'll be briefly talking about what it is and where we are looking to go forward with it. Indoor environmental quality rating schemes try to provide a composite index of the indoor environment for a building or for a block of buildings, and it does so by combining the perspectives from different components of IEQ like air quality, thermal comfort, acoustics, and lighting. With the recent revisions to the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, IEQ rating of buildings has become even more important. Energy performance requirements are now also required to take into account the building's indoor environmental quality, ensuring that occupants are not negatively impacted. An agreed upon metric for indoor environmental quality can be helpful for occupants, it can be helpful for the building owner, operator, tenants, and policymakers. There are certain practical considerations for a suitable metric. That is, how easy is it to communicate to these different stakeholders? How costly are the measurements involved? And can it serve the requirements of the different stakeholders? The TAIL rating scheme was proposed to characterize indoor environmental quality in the buildings that are in use. It provides a tool allowing for characterization of IEQ in buildings and a framework for rating the components and the overall indoor environmental quality. TAIL is also accompanied by PredictTAIL, which is based on simulated design decision tool, and it's not a rating tool for in-use buildings. It's used during the design phase as a guiding tool to ensure that the right choices can be made. So TAIL is a performance-based metric and it requires measurements. No arbitrary credits are given, no compromises or trading between parameters is allowed. There's no averaging, no weightage factors. All components, that is thermal, acoustics, indoor air quality, and lighting, are treated equally. Overall, TAIL has 12 components, the majority of them under the indoor air quality level, and then you have one each under thermal and acoustics and two components under lighting. The communication is kept simple. Traffic light schemas and Roman numerals to represent different categories of compliance with comfort and health standards. For ease of communication and to cater to different audiences with different levels of knowledge and expertise, you can communicate about tail at different levels of detail. For example, a building owner may not want to have the same level of detail as the building facility manager. So you can start off with a core idea and then proceed towards more complicated and more comprehensive representation of the findings of a tail rating scheme. So there's a core structure of TAIL, which is about giving equal importance to the different parameters being evaluated. And around this core structure, you can build up based on your needs. If you want to add more parameters, you can add those. If you want to remove certain parameters, depending on your location, situation, you can do that as well. But it's to ensure that you are providing as comprehensive a picture as possible of the building in as simple a manner as possible. To work towards more widespread application of TAIL, we undertook some pilot measurement campaigns in DTU campus. Along with objective IEQ data, there was also data collected for from subjective responses. So these are primarily office spaces where we measure temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide, formaldehyde, particulate matter, noise, and illuminance. So we had something from all four quadrants. The subjective feedback had two major categories of questions. One group was about perception of different IQ elements, like if it's acceptable or not, if it's poor, feels excellent, in that sort of like how the environment is being perceived by the occupants. The other category was about sensation, so warm or cold sensation, dark or bright sensation. There was one additional grouping of subjective responses. Uh, that is the inclusion of the recently developed index called Flourishing Index, which evaluates markers of life satisfaction, social cohesion, and mental health, etc. So here you have a summary of the tail results for all 5 buildings, as the monitoring period was during a shoulder season when winter heating had not been discontinued but the outdoors were getting warmer. The buildings had a warmer thermal condition, so the temperature side at least was venturing into the red category. Our monitors gave us data logged at every minute, and we later verified that whether we're using the 1 minute data or the 10-minute data, the ratings remained the same. So that's a good sign for if you require to log less frequently. Between objective and subjective data, there was a good correlation for some of the sensation responses, specifically related to temperature and lighting data. One interesting result was that for this population of participants, there's a pretty much everyone working at the university, uh, the flourishing index seemed to have a good contribution when we're trying to evaluate the overall satisfaction with indoor environmental quality. So we tried to predict the overall satisfaction with indoor environmental quality using just perceptions, just sensations, or using sensations and flourishing index. Adding the flourishing index part dramatically improved the accuracy of prediction. To summarize our learnings, TAIL presented a good basis for IEQ evaluation. It is important that buildings be monitored at different possible usage scenarios that you expect for the building. The schematic itself, it's simple to communicate, but it can also be comprehensive using multiple layers so that different stakeholders can learn something from that. And one of the most impressive features, at least to me, which was one of the most impressive features of Tail, was the flexibility afforded around a core structure, allowing for more innovation and adaptation to different use cases, different situations, different geographical conditions. Uh, and we also saw that having objective and subjective data can provide a more complete picture of occupant experience. So it would be interesting to have uh, this kind of objective evaluations associated with tail, along with some subjective feedback received from the occupants as well. Taking tail towards the future, it would be useful to have a monitor for all components of tail, have a database of tail related measurements so that new users can check where their building stands with respect to other similar buildings, a calculator where you can just feed the data and get back the rating, and further to associate tail components with relevant economic and sustainability benefits. Uh, s- as regards the about the calculator, that's something we can help you with. So we coded up Python and R scripts to do the calculations. If you feed it logged data, it can do the computations and spit out the tail rating for the building. You can put together data from multiple buildings in the same data file and give it in as well, and you get ratings for all buildings and also a label for each building. So thank you everyone for your attention. I'd be grateful if some of you could take the time to fill up the feedback form we have. Helps us chart future course of the tale. And feel free to contact me for more information. Thank you.